Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino, back again, you and me. I love this part. This is my post-market wrap-up on this Monday, May 23rd, 2022. Okay, so what happened? A very nice rally across the board today. Okay, so what does that mean? Does it mean it's over? Is this route done? I don't think so. Just by gauging one thing, and that is the 10-year yield, we still remain significantly lower than 3%. And in my opinion, you're certainly entitled to have yours. In this environment, the market needs to see that 10-year yield higher. That means what? Cash is leaving the debt market and it's going to look for a place to go. It's not going to wander through the wilderness here. It's going to go into the equity or the stock market. Look, maybe the market's looking for more assurance here. I don't know how many of you recall last week, maybe the week before that, I had said that I believed that in order for this stock market to make any meaningful gains and maybe pull out of this route, well, you would need the banks to play. I said I believe the banks want to play. Did you see the banks today? JP Morgan, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, big gains. So the banks want to play here. They're kind of sick of getting beat up. And I think sincerely, at this point, banks have gotten so oversold. Today what we saw was some panic buying. But does that mean it's over? No. None of this means it's over. We must keep our eyes on that 10-year yield. Did you watch the dollar today? You want to talk about a nosedive? The comparative strength of the dollar fell off of a cliff, looking at the Dixie index. Over a 1% drop. Okay. With that, we witnessed gold and silver catch a bid, nothing major. Cryptocurrencies reverse and go lower. Bitcoin still hovering in a very tight range. We're about at 29,000. Why am I talking about Bitcoin and not anything else? Because it's the mommy. It's the one all the other ones kind of look up to. So that's the case here with regard to that. But again, look, do I like seeing a day like today? Absolutely. Everyone likes to see green on their screen. Okay, we got that. But to me, we need to see several days of this. Not only that, we need to see what I would call a sigh of relief from the debt market. A lot of cash has made its way into this perceived safety of debt here, and has forced that 10-year yield lower. Well, there's a lot of cash there waiting to come out. And the only way that's going to happen is if, the banks start to play, and maybe we saw some of that today. If people stop being so fearful, it's fear that has been driving this. Look, we have been lied to on a truly epic scale, not just by the central, by the Federal Reserve, by the European Central Bank, other central banks who have explained, we're doing great. None more so than this criminal organization. See my hat? All right. How great we're doing. Our economy is expanding. Meanwhile, by their own words, we're contracting, but they want you to forget about that. Retard presidents notwithstanding how great we are doing. Rah, 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 tremendous, fantastic. No, we're not. Our economy is cratering. As a matter of fact, don't listen to me. Like I said, we got the IMF talking about an economic calamity, a confluence of calamities here. It's called crisis after crisis after crisis, not one of which is just an accident here. Every one of these things has been put forth, created, and dispersed to create or bring about a certain effect. We also heard from the World Economic Forum here over at Davos, and they're warning of an economic storm. Now, let me ask you, who's going to be held to account? Nobody. You see, because it's all by accident. This is just an act of nature. It has nothing to do with the fact that central banks have been on a mission here to continue to inflate and propagate situations that demand that more cash be thrown at it, billions, tens of billions of dollars, wars and new disease processes, monkey freaking pox and COVID and every other damn thing they want to throw. Oh yeah, this is, it just happened. Just an accident. Oh yeah, it's because of this. It's because of supply chain disruptions. Oh yeah, you can't forget about climate change. We have to throw money at that too. And everything else. The mechanism, as you are well aware of, you follow this blog, it's just a rolling over and a propagation and an expansion of every single crisis that they can throw at us. Because again, why? It's amazing how they set this up. Every crisis gives whatever world leader a blank check, and you have to support it, because if you don't, you're not being patriotic. You don't care about anyone. You must allow these freaks to spend anything they want in any amount and throw it at any crisis that they see fit. You really feel like a free person? You have a free government here? You really believe that? No. This is not even close. And it's a global phenomenon as well. And I think you are more than well aware of that. Anyway, so just going back to this market real quick, a long while back, I had explained to people, I hope you got in on this, oil and gas producers, and they have done absolutely phenomenal. I believe sincerely, and I've been saying this lately, there's a lot more to go. ExxonMobil, CVX, DVN, check the ticker symbols on my website, traderchoice.net. PDBC Commodities ETF, that was just one that I recommended exposure to. It's taken off. The banks have absolutely been abysmal, but I just covered that. A pretty much panic buying day. Does that mean the rout is over? We'll see. In order for, again, to convince me that, this is really over here, we're going to need to see some action in the debt market with regard to the 10-year yield. We're going to need to see several days of strong performance in the market. We're going to need to see the financial sector start to get bid higher. Energy is already taken off here. You got crude oil today. Actually, WTI did come down a fraction. It's at 110. But again, look, there's a whole bunch of little pieces here that need to come together. This is not a crash. I don't care who's telling you this. Again, every single market crash, anyone that you want to look at throughout history is not a slow burn over 5 months now since January. It's more like a matter of days. Everybody runs to the door at the same time. People are trying to sell assets and there are no buyers unless they continue to mark down the price of the shares that they own. You understand? That's a crash when everybody runs to the door at the same time. We are so nowhere near this at this particular time that it's just laughable that there's a single person out here that believes that this is a market crash. I know where it's coming from. It's from those I probably am the only guy out here on the alternative media saying that we are not in a crash. How many of those other guys are in the market like me? Probably zero. How many of them really understand the dynamics? There are multiple here that must be thoroughly understood. Probably very, very few, if not none. If you are not in this market, if you are not immersed in it, like I am, stay out of the way. Just realize that your take on it is probably, if you're listening to some of these people out here, you don't know what you're listening to because they have no idea what they're talking about. This is not a crash. Does it make sense to you, with a show of hands, that during a crash, everyone runs to the door at the same time? Or is it a slow burn like we're seeing now? I dare you. Go look back on every single stock market crash in history. They don't burn slowly like this. They rip lower, okay? And We're not seeing that at all. And regardless of what we're seeing here with regard to the global economy, the warnings from the IMF just from today, from the World Economic Forum just from today. Really? Market seems to shrug that off. But our economy, it's over. It's over. There's nothing left anymore. And it's going to continue to get worse. You realize what's going on here. What really is happening is the emergence of a completely new financial system. They got to get rid of the old one first here. Central banks are in a race to the bottom. Why do you think you're seeing inflation surge like it is right now? You really think this is by accident, like they're trying to convince you? No, this is deliberate. They're trying to also get rid of an entire class of people, make them slaves to the system. It's really what they need, people to be dependent on the system. The more people that are dependent on the system, the more people will comply like zombies. That's what they're trying to do. People like you and me, we're the resistance, and we present a problem. How they're going to deal with us down the line, I guess we'll see. But the fact of the matter is we haven't seen anything yet. You can expect all of this to get monumentally worse, and you can expect worse things to come along. Another crisis, worse than the previous one. Just so they can keep the mechanism alive to allow central banks to continue to inflate. Everyone's here talking about quantitative tightening. Really? Okay. Let's see how that's playing out. All we have so far really is Federal Reserve here that's been nudging the federal funds rate and is supposedly going to stop buying assets, even if that were the case. What do they got now? They have wars to fund. They have this crisis to fund. Where's the cash come from? Do we have it? Is there one single developed nation on earth that has a stockpile of cash anywhere, or does it magically have to be created out of thin air by central banks? How about it's the latter? Okay, and that empowers these central banks, who are now by far the strongest organizations on the planet, thanks at least to the last several presidents here in the United States. And whatever freak they're going to put behind the Resolute desk next, you have no say-so. If you think you do, you have no idea of what's actually going on. I've been telling people for the longest time, if your vote counted, they wouldn't allow you to vote. It don't count at all. Nothing matters anymore. All right, so look, that's pretty much it. In summary, nice rally here on Wall Street. Am I happy about it? Sure. Do I believe it's over? The route that we've been in? No. For months and months, which is not a crash? No. I'm not convinced. I will not be convinced until the financials continue to get a bit higher, until the 10-year yield begins to climb. That will convince me that this route is over. When you see cash leaving that debt market and the 10-year yield rises, where do you believe it's going to go? Okay, it should be going into suppressed assets, but it's not going to. It's going to make its way back into the stock market. So that's the way at least I see it. You're entitled to your own opinion, but I would love to hear from you. How do you see it playing out? Are you convinced that this is a crash? If you are, show me the proof. Are we cratering? Look, it's a slow burn. Crashes are never slow burns, like I just said. Show me one time, and you can maybe convince me. All right, look, I'm out of here. Love you a lot. Please share the video. Get it out there. And again, I want to hear from you. We will read the comments. See you in the morning.